Welcome back to the 8th concession. My name is Natalie. Well, we have something special planned for today. My daughter and I are hosting a Jane Austen Regency tea here in our backyard. So I'm going to bring you along with me as we set up and transform this little area into an afternoon tea party. We have a tent to put up, we have tables and chairs, decorating, and of course the food. So it's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to use this area here in front of the garden and the greenhouse, which is coming along. So this is the before. Well, as you can see, it's now a few days later. A lot has happened between the party and today. It is now early October. Some of it good, some of it not so good. So the day of the party, I was filming. I was trying to show how it was coming along with the decorating and the food. And then all of a sudden, you know how it is when you're planning a party, we ran out of time. We were doing the food and we were in such a panic to get everything done that I didn't film anything. I just didn't have time to set up cameras and shots and stuff like that. We just had to get everything done, and we did just barely get it done. We were still putting out a few things when the first guests arrived, so it was all hands on deck. I do have some pictures of the day, however, which I'll share with you now. You can see how it turned out. It was lovely. We had such an amazing time. Now, the food was great. I'll tell you the menu because I meant to do that at the time, but I couldn't. So we had finger sandwiches, which is typical for a Regency tea. We had egg salad. We had ham and cheese on little croissants, and we had cucumber sandwiches. We also had some deviled eggs, thanks to the ladies. And then for sweets, we had raspberry oat squares, we had chewy chip squares, we had cinnamon loaf, we had marble cake covered in chocolate, and then Jane Austen's birthday cake was a butter pecan iced cake. We also had fruit, raspberries, blackberries, and 2 kinds of grapes, and of course tea and pink lemonade. So it was wonderful. We got rave reviews from everyone. My daughter bought a life-size cutout of Colin Firth as Mr. Darcy, and we just had so much fun. We played croquet, we chatted, we did quizzes about Jane Austen. It was a lot of fun. So we were pretty exhausted after the party, but then we had a little bit of some chaos happening. And that was, we got a call around midnight from my son who lives in London, Ontario. That's about an hour and a half to an hour and 3/4 away from us here. That he was taking my daughter-in-law to emerge. She was in such severe pain, and they have 2 small girls. So Craig jumped in the car, and at midnight he's bombing down the 401 to get to London as quickly as possible because my son had to take the girls out of bed to drive his wife to the hospital. And then he drove them back, and Craig stayed with the girls and my son went back to the hospital. So it turned out that my daughter-in-law had a fairly large kidney stone, and she was just off the charts in pain, but they took care of her. They did the CT scan and saw that it's actually in fact 2 kidney stones, one larger, one smaller, and gave her some pain meds and sent her home. So that was exhausting. We were up most of the night because, of course, even though I didn't go with him to London, I was too worried to rest. So then the next week came and we had a bunch of things going on. And then last night, if I look a bit disheveled, it's because last night we got a call again in the middle of the night, but this time from my daughter who lives in Kitchener, which is about 45 minutes away from us here. And she was also being rushed to Emerge, and she was also in severe pain. And we're thinking, what is going on here? So again, I stayed with the dogs and our youngest daughter, who's special needs, and he took off for Kitchener because they also have a young child. So they got my daughter to Emerge, and it turns out she also has a kidney stone. What is it with the kidney stones all of a sudden? Only hers is even larger. She was in incredible pain as well. Same thing, got the CT scan done, confirmed it was a kidney stone. Her pain lessened a bit. I guess it had shifted while she was waiting, and this morning she came home and she's now resting. She has drugs to help her through the pain, and hopefully both of them pass these stones quickly and fairly pain-free, because this is crazy. Anyway, we're exhausted. The filming didn't get done that I wanted to get done. But that's life, isn't it? Things come up. We're just happy to be around, to be able to help our kids when they need us, you know, at crisis times like this. Here on the farm, things are still progressing. It's now October. I can't even believe I'm saying that. And I still have stuff in the garden. Let's go have a look at what my October garden looks like, what I still have to do, and how it's going. So the first thing you might notice is that we moved the concrete blocks to back here because I still haven't gotten those beds in. I've got like weeks left before the snow's gonna fly, so I have to get them in. But with the party, we moved them from in front of the garden to back here where they're close to where the beds will be. If we can sort of rally some, you know, some of our kids together, it won't take us long. We could get it done in a day, so I'm not too panicked about it. And the rest of the garden looks still very green, but let's take a closer look. Even though I pulled this bed, it seems to want to grow again. Now I still have some turnips here, and you can see there's almost frost on the leaves. We've had some cool nights. It hasn't gone below 0, but it looks, I guess it's just wet. But we're close to frost. Here I have some fairly large turnips. They're not the, you know, the bulb shape, I think because I didn't thin them enough, but they are large enough that I am going to pull them, chop them, and freeze them. Now this is where I had the cabbages, and once again, this bed, which had tomatoes last year, self-seeded. And I'm trying to see what kind they are. I'm not sure they're going to have time to set. And here, if you recall, I left some of the leeks that were flowering to go to flower to see if I could get seeds. You know, if I get just a little week or more of warm weather, they may have time for the seeds to ripen, which are in these little pods here. And the rest of this bed has been taken over by my giant marigold and a huge zinnia. But I love them. And this time of year, the bees really enjoy them. I will be saving seeds from this zinnia because this is another one of those plants where there are 2 or 3 colors of flowers on one plant, which I just think is so amazing. If most of these tomatoes are the Matt's Wild Cherry Tomato, I think I will end up pulling them shortly because I don't need any more. This is like a jungle in here from these self-seeded tomatoes in this bed. And this was the onion bed. And I mentioned that there were a lot of tomato plants in it. But again, I think they're almost all Matt's Wild Cherry Tomatoes. I don't need any more. I was hoping some towards the back would be the Peron sprayless because that's where they were growing. There was a Matt's Cherry Tomato here at the end of the trellis. And I think that's what's caused this havoc here. But I'll be pulling most of them. In this bed, I had planted a Matt's Wild Cherry Tomato, which is still giving me, you can see, the little red jewels in there. Lots of cherry tomatoes, which is why I don't need any from those self-seeded plants. And here, back here where the cup of Moldova, it looks like there's still a lot of green tomato plants, but this is actually all the Matt's wild cherry tomato growing on top. The cup of Moldova, you can see, are finished for the season. Here's the celery root. Let's see if I can get a good shot of what's going on down here. There we have it. This bulb here at the bottom. They're looking great. I'm going to pull them shortly and again quarter them and freeze them. They won't be harmed by any frost that might come, so I'm in no hurry to do them. Some more pretty zinnias. Here's my one and only birdhouse gourd this year, which is funny to me because normally even one plant puts out many, but it was a very hot, dry summer. I think that, made the difference. But I did find a surprise. Look, I got a loofah. It might be only one, but it's looking pretty good. It's not nearly dry enough yet, so I'm hoping for some more warm days for that. When it sort of gets ridges and it dries, then you have a better chance of keeping it over the winter. I don't see another one. And here the Matt's wild cherry tomato on this side is just full of tomatoey goodness. On this other side there were more loofahs, but I don't... Oh, wait a minute. Look at this tiny little guy. Oh, if he grows, he's quite small right now, but if there's time, I think he's caught a bit there. If there's time, he could grow big enough. And again, the monstrosity that is the Matt's wild cherry tomato here, it's just taking over everything. And again, it's crawling across the top here. These were the subarctic plenty tomatoes. They're mostly done. But back here, the Peron sprayless, although the plant is starting to suffer, look at all the tomatoes that are still there. They're lovely. I've been picking from them almost every day for fresh tomatoes. Back here is the crop I still have to deal with, and these are my peppers. Now I like to leave them nice and long to give them time to ripen, and I haven't been down for a while, but you know what? The plants look amazing, and I can see some delicious peppers in and around. Now I had to actually go back and watch the video where I planted them to remember what I planted where. Isn't that terrible? So let's have a look at what we've got. Right here at the front is my royal black, and you can see how many are on it. And some down here at the bottom are turning red. These are quite hot, and Craig likes to add them to salsa or chilies because he likes hot things. So I've got lots on here. I can even share with my son-in-law who also likes hot salsa because there's a ton on here. The one beside it should be the cayenne pepper when I watch the video. And if you look down in here, there are a ton of peppers. Oh, look at them all down here. We've got cayenne peppers everywhere, so I want them to all turn this nice red. So I'm gonna hope that we have a bit more warm weather. Here's a green one. We definitely need longer seasons for peppers here. And then beside it here, I can see these orange ones. These are the lunchbox peppers. They're looking great. They're just a sweet bell pepper, but of a smaller size. Now this is the strange part of the peppers. These here were all supposed to be green peppers and mixed bell peppers. I bought a pack of seeds that said mixed bell, but I don't know about you, but they don't look like bell peppers to me. I'm going to give one to Craig to see if they're hot. Because if they are bell peppers, they're the strangest looking ones I've ever seen. Now, down here, we have regular bell peppers. That's no problem. We seem to have 2 or 3 plants of them. So the ones we don't eat fresh, I'm going to chop and freeze. Now, beside the green bell peppers, I planted a bunch of Hungarian hot wax. Oops, I just broke that off. And there they are. They're already turning red, which is great. Makes a much nicer hot pepper mix than when they're all... You can pickle them when they're still sort of green or yellow, but it's nice when you get the orange and red. Now, beside the Hungarian hot wax, I planted chili peppers. I expect them to be red, but all I have are these great big green things. So, any of my gardening friends who have grown chili peppers, can you tell me if these look like them? Oh, here's one here that's turned red. I guess they're just not ripe yet. I just didn't expect them to be that large. For some reason, I thought chili peppers were like small and narrow. These are huge. So I don't know. Let me know if these look like any chili peppers you've ever grown. Right at the back are what are my early jalapeno, and I see them down here. Even some have turned red. So there should be a good crop on there. This is the other side of that garden bed, but you can see the Hungarian hot wax are very prolific, so they're great. And they're, ooh. Oh, it's like a treasure trove down here. Look at all the colors. Isn't that amazing? And here again, we have these massively long green peppers that are supposed to be my chili peppers. That's the strangest thing. This is why I like to keep the marigolds and the zinnias for as long as possible in the fall. Here's a little bee just waking up in the sunshine, grabbing some breakfast. And the other side of bed one with more of the Peron sprayless. Truly, they are the tomato that does, the heirloom tomato anyway, that does best in my garden. There's a bit of cracking here this year on the tomatoes, but I think that's because of the uneven weather we had, where it was so dry in July and then wet and cool in August. But the tomatoes inside are still lovely. And then Matt's wild cherry tomato just taking over everywhere. Taking over the world. Bit of a problem here. These were my dill, but you can see all the seeds, pretty much all the seeds. This one still has seeds on it. You see them? But the rest have dropped, which means I'm going to have a forest of dill here again. Oh well. So there you go. There's still quite a bit growing in this poor neglected garden as we raced off to do emergencies for our kids. I'm going to try and do the peppers this weekend, the ones that are ripe anyway. I won't do them all. I'm going to try and leave them as long as possible. But I need to get started because there's quite a few peppers there, and the celery root I'll pull, and the turnip I'll pull when I have time, because again, neither of them should be affected by any frost that might come, although I don't think they're calling for below freezing temperatures yet, so I think we're good for about another week anyway. The cherry tomatoes we're still eating fresh, but I am going to start pulling the self-seeded plants out of the old onion bed because it's just a mess there, and I truly don't need any more Matt's wild cherry tomato plants. I'm going to leave any that look like they might be slicing tomatoes, but I don't know, it's October. I don't think they're going to have enough time, and I'm also going to leave the the leek flowers to see if those seeds can ripen, because I'd really like to save my own leek seeds. It's amazing in October there's still a lot of beauty and bounty in the garden. Well, I'm going to try and get some rest. I haven't slept in days, so a little nap might be in order. I hope you're enjoying your fall garden too. Bye for now.